This is my third time trying to record this, so if I at some point just start randomly like talking to a custodian and tell them I need more time, know that I'm recording this after school. Because my recording from 7th period had a robot voice for some reason. So I'm recording this in QuickTime Player in one go. It says I cannot pause screen recording, so bear with me. Alright, I'm diving in. I'm going to be doing this kind of abridged. I'll be jumping into my completed demo towards the end of the video, but I'm going to demo for starters on how to prepare the UV maps for this whole arcade cabinet I've given you. It's 137 faces, should be fairly lightweight, so let's hop in. So in the UV editor, first things you're going to want to make sure you have are to turn on the checkerboard pattern from the icon up here, and then 6 for the shaded, or 5 rather, excuse me, for the shaded shell display. So you'll notice a default that most of the faces are going to look red because I broke the UVs before I gave them to you. The UVs weren't good before, but I broke them in a uniform way so that everything would look the same and you'll be able to tell as you peel it apart what you've done. Because as you go through this, like I said, most of this is already red. You can see some of the blue faces. As you go and you unfold everything, the majority of your faces should turn blue. I think all of them actually will be blue at the end. So let's dive in. So for starters, I'm going to go into UV shell mode and I'm going to move all of my shells out of this space that we call the 0 to 1. And we're going to be talking about this more on Thursday. But this is the primary texturing space, this 0 to 1. This texturing space is technically infinite, but you really only use that with tileable textures. When you're making a distinct texture for something, it's got to fit in this 0 to 1 square space here, more or less, at least for our needs anyway. When you go off to college, you might learn some of the ways that that is a little bit of a fib. So let's go into this. I'm going to start from the bottom, and let's easy for our reminders and stuff. So I'm going to select both these faces on the outside, and the reason I can do both these faces together is, one, they're not connected to one another they're connected, but they're not next to each other, but they are on the same axis. And so looking at my move tool, the red axis is the x-axis. When you have you double check your axis orientation set to world and reset the tool and all that if it's not. So red will typically point in the direction of X, blue will point in the direction of Z, and green up and down will always be Y. So you're really just trying to figure out, facing up and down, it's always Y, but if it's on the sides, you want to figure out if it's X or Z. I have built this object so that the front is Z and the sides are X. Okay, so sides, so X-axis, so I'm going to use my planar options. Reminder, you can either shift click this button to bring up the whole box and choose your axis, or if you are comfortable and handy with doing so, you can use your 3 mouse buttons to project on different axes based on which one you use. So if your box is set to project on X, and I project 1, you'll see it goes to the 0 to 1, but it projects on the X-axis, again, if you use left click, or it'll be your current settings. If you hover over it, that's what it says. But the reason you want to leave it on X is because if you use the middle mouse button, it will always project on the Y-axis, or if you were to right-click this button, it always projects on the Z-axis. Again, we know we want the X, so I'm going to left-click this. Boom. So I've selected my faces, and I've mapped them. I'm going to move them, so this is for the base of it, so I'm going to put this down towards the bottom side of my UV space. And now I'm just going to unfold this one axis and then the other. And so in UV shell mode, I can grab one of these, and there's 2 of them on top of each other, so I'll just peel them apart. The only thing you need to really worry about in this first pass of the UV process is that you want to make sure that you have some organization so you know what shells belong to sort of what areas of the object. So that's why I'm pulling these down off to the side. So these are on the front and back, these 2 faces. So whoops, I think I just deselected them. Let's see, what's going on here? Oh, I'm in UV shell mode, excuse me, face mode. Boom, boom, right? These are both facing the front and the back, so that's the Z axis. So I'll planar by right-clicking on the Z, or right-clicking on planar for the Z. Move tool with W, bring this down here, unfold, unfold, and again I'll grab this and separate these. And then don't forget that there is a top for this. So you'll want to select project from, in this case, the Y. This is coming from the top. And then unfold it. All right. So that brings us to the upper part of this. So I'm going to do the sides first. The sides are pretty straightforward and simple, which is 5 connected triangles, or faces in triangles. Or 6, I guess, whatever. No, it is 5. 1, 2. Oh, because of triangles. Okay, I see. So anyway, got all these faces selected. I'm going to planar these from the X. I'm going to do this one separate from my other side. But you could also, you know what, I didn't do it in my demos, but I'll do it right now. Boom. So planar map on the X. We'll move these up and over here. And then when I unfold these, you'll see that the two shapes sort of overlap because they're opposites, right? So boom and boom. So we have both sides of this done. Squares look good. The square's size doesn't matter at this point. We'll talk about that more when we're packing the texture in part 2. So then the back, again, boom, cool. This is all straightforward stuff, doing the back, and so I want to move on to talking about doing, say, these areas. So I gave you these distinct, separated out faces, so that'd be easy for you to put the screen, whatever you put on the screen, and whatever you put as your title here, to have their own easy area for you to work on those. So you'll want to make sure when you planar map this, you don't planar it with these faces that are around it, because it was distinctly put like this. So I'm going to planar this from the Z, as it's facing forward, right? Boom, and then unfold along, unfold along. I'm going to put this up here because it's above these parts, so that way I can keep track of it. So this is my marquee sign. And then I would grab these 4 that go around it, right? So then I can planar these also from the Z, bring these over here, whoopsie, unfold along U, unfold along V, boom. And so there's my 2 pieces of the sign up here. Don't forget there's a face here on the bottom, right? So anyway, I'm skipping down to this. Same thing, right? So with the screen, you'll planar that also from the Z and unfold it. You'll also then get these 4 faces separate. Again, planar mapped on the Z, so right clicking, and then unfold, unfold. And that brings us to this area. I just want to point out this piece is a separate piece of geometry, so like this face is all one big piece back here, right? It's just overlapping with the base object. So yeah, so I'll do this face and this face because they're both from the Z, right? So I can planar map this, right click on the Z, and then I'll do the fight stick area. There's no fight stick to do, like, or controls to worry about on this one. I deliberately left them off because I want to make sure that this project works first before I start increasing the difficulty. So all right, so then these are on the Z, so right click planar, whoops, these are on the X rather, sorry, brain, not the X, or not the Z rather. So and then move those down there and unfold, boom, 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 right, and then the top and the bottom, yay, okay. Anyway, so a lot of these I'm just skipping over because you can figure it out. So this I will planar map and unfold just to get it out of the way. All right, this is the back of the coin op area. Okay, so coin op area, yay. This is the difficult part. This is where the majority of the faces are on your object. So the key, and I will turn off the checkerboard and the shading for a second so we can see this a little bit clearer, is that in these coin slot areas, so we have the faces that are on the outside, and then the faces that are on the inside of this lip, and then on the flat coin op area, I did another extrude in so that we could actually have a coin slot in here. So this area is flat, then this area around the slot is flat, and then there's a little flat face in here. So there's a lot of small faces you're going to need to keep track in this area. So just keep that in mind. So 5 and shading and checkerboard. Okay, so we're back to this. So I'm going to work my way from the outside in. So first we want to get the outside of the coin op area. So there is a way to do this as one contiguous piece because it wraps all the way around, much like we did our can project, right? Or the UVs from our can project. You didn't prepare those. But for what we're doing, I think a better approach would be to separate this into like 4 shells if it's like 4 sides of a square or rectangular prism. So I'm going to start by grabbing the 2 outermost sides on the coin op area. They're big, long, flat, single faces. And I'm going to planar map those on the X because they're facing towards the side. And then I will unfold them and unfold them. And there you go. Okay, and then remember you have 2 overlappings. You should separate them. Then we have all of these faces up here, right, from there to there, and that can form one long, thin strip. So this will project from the top, and then when you unfold it along U, it will fix itself. It'll also become gigantic, which is fine. I'm just scaling it down. I don't really care about the proportion of these squares right now. I'll deal with that in the packing stage. Okay. So boom, we got those. Again, project these from the Y. So middle mouse button on that. Unfold U, unfold V. And like I said, I'm not trying to get it perfect. I'm just mostly eyeballing it. Okay, cool. It's like these match, but these still don't match. Okay, so now we need the big flat area, right? So we did the sides of this. Now we need the big old flat area. Whoops. Okay, and then we're going to planar this from the Z because it's flat and on the front. So boom. Bring this up here. Unfold along. Unfold along. Okay, so now the tricky parts. So now you're going to go bit by bit doing, say, well, I'll start with the top and the bottom, and you can do these together too as long as you make sure to keep things organized. So top and bottom, right? Those would be from the y-axis. Cool. Bring these up over here. This is for our other coin op stuff. Move this off to the side a little bit more. Okay, so we'll select these. Again, unfold U, unfold V. Again, these are the tops and bottoms, so let's separate these into left and right. So this is the right side one. Okay. This is the bottom of the right side one. All right, this is the top of the left side one. That's the bottom of the left side one. And these are also gigantoid, so I'll just make them smaller just for organization's sake. Okay. So then that brings us to the outside ones on the sides. So then boom, right? And then let's planar map this from the X. And then, because they're visible from the side, and then same thing, we'll move these over here. Unfold, unfold, boom. And then we just want to make sure we separate these again by which side they go with. So let's say boom, 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 boom. Okay, very cool. Okay, and then so now you do the fronts. Whoopsie, what did I just do? I think I just changed the camera. Oh, I just deselected. Okay, my bad, folks. Okay. Face, boom, boom, boom. So I'm getting the 4 faces that form the flat outside of this. So we'll planar map that from the Z. Oh, and I accidentally selected something because my shell looks weird. Aha. It selected something on the bottom here. See? So it helps, because I can tell I selected something because I know what shells are over there. Okay, let's planar map these from the Y. There we go. That looks about more right. Bring these up here. Oh, did I say the Y? I meant the Z. I'm sorry. I was like, why are they flat? All right, there we go. From the Z. There we go. Brain. Okay. So then we unfold along U, unfold along V. Make sure we have the right one on the right side. Boom, boom, etc., etc. So, and then I will just point out again, the slot in here is separate. So you're going to be doing these faces just like you did the outer ones. So the inner face is just like the outer. And then you also have to do it for these faces in here, right? So I'm going to switch over to the other. Oh, I'm already on it. Nice. So let's leave that one behind. So this is the one that I just finished in my 7th period class. I didn't get entirely finished, but you can see how all of this stuff got laid out. So you can see the faces for the top and the side. Again, you just simple projections from the right direction. Do all of these little tiny faces. Don't skip these ones in here. I ran out of time in my 7th period. So in fact, I'll finalize it. So boom, like these little tiny slips in here, the coin slot faces, those would also be Z. So we can unfold these, boom, and unfold. And then let's make sure this stays on this side, and this is the coin slot for the other side. And then right, we would do here and here, as well as here and here. And these are on the X, so we're looking at them from the side. Unfold along U, unfold along V, and then separate these. And then, so this one and this one are for that side, which means this one and this one are for this side. And then, the same thing for these ones. And then I'll be done. And then I'm done. And then you can figure it out. So select them, project with the Y-axis. So right click, or middle mouse button, excuse me, the planer. Bring these over here. Unfold along U, unfold along V. They become gigantoids, so we can make them smaller. And then we'll separate these out. So this is one of the tops. So this is the right side top. Left side top. Left side bottom. Right side bottom. And let me take these and move these over here. Boom. Okay. So once you get all of your UVs prepared, on Thursday, the next part, I'll show you how you can plan out how you want to pack these in our 0 to 1 space so that you can make a complete UV layout so that you can send a snapshot into Photoshop and start making your textures. Okay, so thank you for watching the redo, and I'll catch you folks later.